Hello everyone, my name is John Michael Horvath. First off, I would like to thank you all for watching this topic expansion video. I truly hope that you find it useful and that it is something that sticks out, is unique. Because for me, upon reading this article for the first time, I believe it is pretty unique. You see, I'm really into social media, but I can definitely see how it can become toxic in one's everyday life. For me, for example, in high school, I was on social media quite a bit, way too much, and it definitely affected my mental and physical well-being. Humans are not meant to be on their screens 24/7. However, in today's day and age, it's simply hard not to be. You're always glued to your phone and you need it to make connections for work, to talk to people, and so on and so forth. A social media addiction is like binge eating. Here's how to find the right diet. Talks about social media addiction and compares it to binge eating. This is important for a number of reasons. First of all, social media is prominent in society today, as we all know. It can be beneficial in building a professional and effective online presence. It can be incredibly beneficial in landing jobs or just improving your credibility as a whole. However, there are downsides to social media as well. Burnout is definitely a thing that happens for people who work in media or social media in particular. Later on in this presentation, we will talk about one of Dr. Mulqueen's patients who worked in marketing. She was constantly on the clock 24/7, constantly on social media, and this actually caused her to tail into some depression, and she was very dissatisfied with her life. Also, if you're not conducting yourself in a professional manner online, employers can see that activity and choose not to hire you. They could choose to fire you, or they could even choose not to bring you in for an interview. If you're in the interview process and they see something that you not like online, that can be incredibly harmful for your chances at landing a position at whatever company that you are deciding to see if you can work at. The bottom line is that it's very important to remain professional on social media and use it in a way that is healthy. Part of that healthy usage is to find balance, which is what I will discuss and what you will find out in this presentation. A social media addiction is like binge eating. Here's how to find the right diet was written by Dr. Margaret Mulqueen this past Friday, February 28th. Dr. Mulqueen graduated from the University of Pennsylvania in 1984. She has been a psychologist for more than 20 years. According to her About Me page on Psychology Today, her commitment is to help people find a greater sense of commitment and purpose in their lives. She currently holds a private practice in Brookline, Massachusetts, while specializing in eating disorders, feminist theory, and couples therapy. She's the author of On Our Own Terms: Redefining Competence and Femininity, and she has written essays in the Boston Globe, Psychotherapy Networker, psychotherapy.net, and other publications. Clearly, she is well versed and reliable when it comes to talking about psychology and this topic as a whole. This article begins by talking about how social media operates in our bodies in a way that is similar to other addictive behaviors, such as alcohol, smoking, drugs, sex, and gambling. This is a recently discovered phenomenon, but make no mistake, social media addiction is a real thing, and it exists. Due to the nature of social media and how prevalent it is in our society today, however, it's not easy to curb this addiction. It's not easy to find a cure. This is because it's not like any addictive practice where you can simply quit cold turkey. Social media is so ingrained in society that you're viewed as ancient or even an outcast if you don't use it. People look down on you for not using it. Part of the reason that it is so addicting is due to a chemical called dopamine. Social media apps and sites increase the release of dopamine to our brains. This dopamine gives us a jolt of pleasure. Once our bodies experience that pleasure, we just want it more and more. And if you don't get that jolt, you can actually become depressed because of how reliant you are on it. Withdrawal from dopamine hurts, and it's a real thing. For example, if you feel an example of a dopamine jolt or a dopamine addiction would be if you ever feel your pocket buzz when you're sitting in class or walking around campus, and you feel your pocket buzz, but you're confused because you hasten, you grab the phone out of your pocket and you look at your screen and there's no notification. It's that dopamine that's causing you to think that way and causing you to feel that buzz in your pocket. Dr. Mulqueen then discusses, according to Dr. Mulqueen, we can apply research on eating disorders to social media addiction. The similarities are there. Our access to social media, just like food, is there 24/7. Unlike other addictions and dependencies, you can't just quit going on social media. You obviously can't just quit eating food either, or else you would die. And if you quit going on social media, you won't be up to date on different trends and strategies or things that are going on in the world, so your career may die. Moderation is also difficult to achieve because of the aforementioned dopamine. Dr. Mulqueen compares this dopamine to eating chocolate cake, which is delicious. You can't just take one bite of chocolate cake and stop. You're going to keep eating it. Our hunger is powerful, just like our desire for dopamine is. We call this, the moderation is difficult to achieve, a feedback loop, because it's a loop between our behavior and the part of our brain that responds to pleasure. Dr. Mulqueen then discusses how she helped curb a patient's social media addiction by using some of the same techniques that she has used to help stop binge eating. A little bit of background: her patient has a marketing job that requires her to be on social media around the clock. This patient is miserable and deeply depressed due to her addiction and dependence to technology and social media. She was simply dissatisfied with her life and wanted to change. So to start, Dr. Mulqueen decided to ask her patient to reflect on a variety of questions. However, these are questions she would normally ask a binge eater, but she substitutes the word screen for the word food. A couple of the questions that she asks her to reflect on are: is my relationship with social media healthy? At the end of the day, how has my time on screens helped me improve myself? If I think of every megabyte as a bite of food, what percentage of what I have consumed online today was empty calories? And these questions really helped her client discover ways that she could modify her behavior and set limits to her use of technology and her use of online activity. This is important because she needed to go through withdrawal to change her emotional response to online engagement. Her client also had fears that she would miss something if she wasn't on the phone all the time, which is something that is very common in technology-addicted patients and something that is common with binge eaters as well. They worry if they do not have food by them. She had to address that fear using cognitive behavioral techniques. Some examples of these techniques include: she made her bedroom a screen-free environment. She bought an alarm clock where she didn't have to go on her phone to set an alarm to turn off her alarm, so she could avoid using technology that way. She took 24-hour breaks from screen time and social media. And she also stopped relying on Facebook posts and stopped consuming Facebook posts to determine her friendship. So instead, she actually made communication with that person. She texted them, she met up with them, she called them. And it was incredibly helpful because the result was she experienced more control in her life. She had improved self-esteem. She felt a lot better about herself. She did not always look for that immediate jolt of dopamine, which resulted in delayed gratification. She didn't need gratification all the time, which is actually a really, really important skill to learn, because you're not always going to get that gratification. If you can learn how to delay it, it's incredibly beneficial. She also became a better communicator. She experienced more fulfilling communication patterns, especially in person. And finally, she had better sleep. Less screen time, better sleep. So the results were fantastic for this patient. As a result of this newfound life and this newfound happiness, the patient then had a discussion with her employer about how to limit her online availability. Now, the employer received it in a positive manner. However, the jury's still out on whether she will actually get that lessening of screen time. She might not get promoted in her company, as the article states, but is that really worth her being miserable all the time? Would a promotion really be worth her being miserable all the time? It can be argued that her happiness is much more important. So there are consequences for changing and for being on social media and technology less, but there are consequences for not changing as well. So the bottom line is this, and it says this in the last paragraph of the article: if we tame the beast of social media by moderating our diet of screen time, hopefully we can realign our priorities and live healthier lives. I hope this presentation was useful for you all, and I thank you all very much for listening. Have a great day.